Hey everybody! I hear the train whistle far down the line. I hurried myself so I'd be there on time. I hope and I pray that for old time's sake you will step off the train and my heart you will take. I'm watching the train passing by. I'm watching the train passing by. You've forgotten your promise to make me your own. I'm watching the train passing by. Standing at the station each morning am I hear everyone all greeting their own. I think of your promise of a gold wedding ring, a baby so sweet and a little cottage home. I'm watching the train passing by. I'm watching the train passing by. You've forgotten your promise to make me your own. I'm watching the train passing by. Hey everyone, thanks for joining in this evening, tuning in. We're going to have an evening of songs here this evening, some old ballads and story songs. So we'll get things started with an old Doc Williams number. 'Twas on one cold wintry night, and the wind blew across the wild moor, and poor Mary came wandering home with her child till she came to her own father's door. Oh father, dear father, she cried, come down now and open the door, for the child in my arms, it will perish and die from the winds that blow across the wild moor. Oh, why did I leave this fair spot, where I once was happy and free? I am now doomed to roam without friends or a home, and no one to take pity on me. Ah, but her father was deaf to her cry. Not a sound of her voice did he hear, though the watchdog did howl and the village bell tolled, as the winds blew across the wild moor. Oh, how the old man must have felt when he came to the door the next morn and saw Mary dead, but the child still alive, closely clasped in its dead mother's arms. In anguish he tore his gray hair, and the tears down his cheeks they did pour, when he saw how that night she had perished and died from the winds that blow across the wild moor. In grief the old man passed away, and the child to its mother went soon. And no one, so they say, has lived there to this day, and the cottage has all grown to ruin. But the villagers point out the spot where the willow hung over the door, where poor Mary died, once the gay village bride, from the wind flew across the wild moor. Mary of the Wild Moor. Well, they don't get much sadder than that, do they? So who have we got here tonight? Hey, let's lighten things up a little bit here. Hey, Randy. Hey, Wayne. That's Dad. Hey, Mom. Hey, Blair. Keith. Joseph. Thanks for coming. We got 10 people here. Wow, we're breaking the record tonight. Okay, we're going to move along now. Let's lighten things up a little bit with the old Dungarvan. As I rode out one morning, going to Dungarvan Fair, I espied a pretty maiden with the sunlight in her hair. Her way was so delightful, her voice rang like a bell, and as I overtook her, I asked if she was well. Lay down your woolen shawl, my love, I swear it is no joke, and I'll tell to you the story of the old Dungarvan Oak. As we approached Dungarvan, the girl at me did stare, and she asked me why I raised my hat to a tree so old and bare. I told her of the legend, if the tree should e'er come down, there'd be a great disaster and Dungarvan would be drowned. Lay down your woolen shawl, my love, I swear it is no joke, and I'll tell to you the story of the old Dungarvan Oak. And then she started laughing, my face grew very red, and she said that only fools believed what those old legends said. Her laughter was contagious, for the truth to you I'll tell. By the time I reached the marketplace, I began to laugh as well. Lay down your woolen shawl, my love, I swear it is no joke, and I'll tell to you the story of the old Dungarvan Oak. As I sit here by my fireside, it's the autumn of my life, and the darling girl I met that day is now my darling wife. I have a lovely daughter and a son to push my yoke, and all because I raised my hat to the old Dungarvan Oak. Lay down your woolen shawl, my love, I swear it is no joke, and I'll tell to you the story of the old Dungarvan Oak. Lay down your woolen shawl, my love, I swear it is no joke, and I'll tell to you the story of the old Dungarvan Oak. The old Dungarvan Oak, the story of an old tree. Oh, hey, Melanie. Yes, it certainly was a sad song, Melanie. That's one of the saddest songs. And yes, Keith, great. It's a Louvin Brothers cover for sure. Doc Williams sang it as well. A lot of people sang that number. Okay. But we got to keep things moving. This is a singing show. As they say, this is a singing show, not a talk show. Let's try Bubbles and Johnny One Eye. Bubbles was a dancer in a cabaret, and she had such nimble feet. Every time she'd sway, all the boys would say, boy, ain't she a treat. But Bubbles had a heart, and her heart was sore, and we often heard her sigh, 'cause the guy she wanted never came close, and his name was Johnny One Eye. Every time Johnny came into the bar, he would sit down near the door, and he couldn't see Bubbles way up on the stage, 'cause his one good eye was sore. Then one night the seats near the door were filled, and Johnny flew into a rage, and the The manager came and he calmed him down and said, "You can sit by the stage." Johnny sat down and he looked around, and at last he saw the girl. And he looked right into her big blue eyes, and his head began to whirl. Then he picked her up and he ran for the door, and we heard the managers cry. Bubbles said, "Boss, you can take your job, and I'll take Johnny One Eye." Bubbles and Johnny One Eye, written by J.P. Linegar from Newfoundland. Okay, let's keep things going here. We're going to do an old Tom T. Hall number now. I sang it last month and it seemed to go over well. Another tearjerker, of course. I was working in Miami for a day or two when I decided I'd look up a girl that I once knew. I bought some flowers and went to see a girl I used to know. The lady at the door said she had married long ago. Times will change and towns will change. There I was alone, and suddenly I wondered, would Susie be at home? So with the flowers in my hand, I walked toward her gate. Someone touched me on the arm and said, "You'll have to wait." Then I noticed there were people standing in a line, and some of them were holding pretty flowers just like mine. They explained that Susie had been in an awful crash. Doctors said that she had just a little while to last. When I walked into her room, I felt a sense of shame. But I heard Susie whisper, "I'm awfully glad you came." She had been the girl that I had always gone to see when someone that I cared for had been untrue to me. I handed her the flowers and she softly kissed my hand. She said, "Don't be embarrassed, you know I understand." I said goodbye, and as I bent to kiss her fevered brow, I heard her whisper, "Thank you for the second-handed flowers." It's a very thought-provoking song, isn't it? Very touching song. And sadly, we lost Tom T recently. Hey Darren, hey Sandra, thank you Blair. Thanks Melanie, looks like Melanie had a good laugh at something. Hey Patton, hey Lou. Thanks for joining. Okay. We'll try something by Gene Watson. The old man told his story about the years gone by, how he played in some old dingy dive. I knew 'em all back then, he said, as he reached out for his horn. He closed his eyes and wet his lips, then the blues were born. He played with so much feeling, tears came from his eyes. He stopped and reminisced a bit, and then he gave a sigh. Said, you know, I almost made it, but that was before your time. Dixieland, old folks blues, Scatman Jack and wine. Slapped his knee and gave a grin. It sure was good back then. Reaching for his horn on the floor. Placed it in an old tow sack that hung across his back. He said goodbye, then shuffled out the door. Enthused by what he told me, I never got his name, so I called the waitress over and started to explain. A tired old man, his tarnished horn, and a memory of years gone by. How he played his horn and reminisced, smiled with tear-dimmed eyes. She said, you are mistaken, there's been no one but you. But I know who you're talking about, I used to know him too. You'll find him down on Basin Street, in back of an old churchyard. A stone that reads, rest in peace. I tried, but it sure was hard. Slapped his knee and gave a grin. It sure was good back then. Reaching for his horn on the floor. Placed it in an old tow sack that hung across his back. He said goodbye, then shuffled out the door. He said goodbye, then shuffled out the door. The Old Man and His Horn by Gene Watson. I really like that number. Melanie, you're going to have to tell us what was so funny earlier. Okay, we'll do one more before the break, and it's a train song, so if you're going to be singing train songs, you've got to really dress the part of the conductor. So it's a Hank Snow song, so we'll send this one out to Keith because he's a big Hank Snow fan, and we're going to kick it off here with the old train whistle. All aboard! From old Montana down to Alabama, I've been before and I'll travel again. You trifling women can't keep a good man down. You dealt the cards, but you missed the play, so hit the road and be on your way. Gonna board the gold and rock it and leave this town. I was a good engine running on time, but baby, I'm switching to another line. So honey, never hang your signal out for me. I'm tired of running on the same old track. I bought a one-way ticket and I won't be back. This golden rocket is rolling my blues away. Hear that lonesome whistle blow, that's your cue, and by now you know that I got another true lover waiting in Tennessee. This midnight special's a burning the rail, so woman, don't try to follow my trail. This golden rocket is a rolling my blues away. Hear her thunder on through the night. This golden rocket is a-doing me right, and that sunny old Southland sure is a part of me. Now from your coil board erase my name. Your fire went out, you done lost your flame, and this golden rocket is a-rolling my blues away. That old conductor, he seemed to know you done me wrong. I was feeling low, for he yelled aloud, we're over that Dixon line. The brakeman started singing a song, said you're worried now, but it won't be long. This golden rocket is leaving your blues behind. Then the porter, he yelled with that southern drawl, let's rise and shine, good morning you all. And I sprang to my feet to greet the newborn day. As I kissed my baby in the station door, that whistle blew like never before, of the golden rocket that rolled my blues away. The Golden Rocket. Thank you very much. Okay, we're gonna move along now with a little break, 4-minute break, so you can get a hamburger and fries, whatever you need there, a couple of corn dogs. Anyway, see you after the break. Take care. We're back. We're back. We're back. We're back. Okay, now it's POS-MEN time here at Songs with Ryan. It's time for positive mentions, and I just gotta make a note here. If you want to hear some good old-time fiddling, you've got to check out the Big Fiddle Show. That's Charlie Walden. Look up Charlie Walden on YouTube. Some of the best fiddling around, and his tunes are straight out of Coles, baby. So get on there, find Charlie Walden, the Big Fiddle Show with Pat at night. And that concludes POS-MEN time on Songs with Ryan. POS-MEN means positive mentions. So we're going to try a medley now, a tune that I wrote, and just earlier the rain was just pelting down on the back window there, and I thought it would start to bleed through the mix here, but it did die down. And this song, it talks about rain in the first line, so the first or second line. So it's a little medley of a song I wrote and a Johnny Cash number. A bit of an odd medley, actually. Here we go. Here goes nothing. The rain. I've forgotten my own song. The wind it howls, the rain it pours, the shutter creaks upon your door. You lie awake and watch the time. Do I ever cross your mind? The whistle screams, the train arrives. All aboard the train, a voice cries out, and the people move inside. With strangers all around you on those early morning rides, do I ever cross your mind? Walk and work and sit and sleep, you do it all alone. A lonesomeness within your heart and soul, it must be grown. For me it has been torture, I guess you know the kind. Do I ever cross your mind? Walk and work and sit and sleep, you do it all alone. A lonesomeness within your heart and soul, it must be grown. For me it has been torture, I guess you know the kind. Do I ever cross your mind? Do I ever cross your mind? We were just a plain old hillbilly band with a plain old country style. We never played the kind of songs that would drive anybody wild. We played a railroad song with a stomping beat, played a blues song kinda slow and sweet, but the thing that knocked them off of their feet was hoo-wee. When Luther played the boogie-woogie, 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 Luther played the boogie in the strangest kind of way. Play that boogie. That's a strange boogie. Well, we did our best to entertain everywhere we'd go. We nearly played our fingers off to give the folks a show. We played jump and jive to make 'em get in the groove, played sad songs kinda slow and smooth, but the only thing that would make 'em move was hoo-wee. When Luther played the boogie-woogie, 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 Luther played the boogie in the strangest kind of way. Now, didn't Luther play the boogie strange? Luther's Boogie.
Well, I hope someone found some entertainment in that. Well, we're going to move along with something a little more traditional now. It's, I believe, an old Irish song, maybe? Scottish? Hills of Glenshee? Maybe Irish. Probably should research these songs a little more before I perform them for you.
One fine summer's morning, as I went a walking, just as the grey dawn flew over the sea, I happened to spy a fair-haired young damsel out tending her flock on the hills of Glenshee. Said I, pretty fair one, will you be my dear one? For I'll take you over, my bride for to be. And this very night in my arms I will hold you, while you tend your flock on the hills of Glenshee. Oh no, my dear sir, you'll not take me over. None of your footmen will wait upon me, for I'd rather stay home in my own homespun clothing and attend to my flock on the hills of Glenshee. It's 20 long years now we've both been together. Seasons may change, but there's no change in me. And if God lets me live and I have my right senses, I'll never prove false to the girl of Glenshee. She's Mary, my own loving darling, for I love her so and I know she loves me. And I'll never prove false to my girl where I met her. No, I'll never prove false to the girl of Glenshee. She's Mary, my own loving darling. She's as pure as the perfume blows over the sea, and her cheeks are as pale as the white rose of summer that sends out its leaves o'er the hills of Glenshee, that sends out its leaves o'er the hills of Glenshee.
The hills of Glenshee. Oh, hey, Joan, thank you. Thanks, Sandra. Hey, Bradley. Oh, we got a nice crew on here now. Okay. Okay, we'll try a song by the country gentleman, Charlie Waller. Very nice number. Also a very thought-provoking number.
In a dreary Yankee prison, where a rebel soldier lay, by his side there stood a preacher, ere his soul should pass away. And he faintly whispered Parson as he clutched him by the hand. Oh, Parson, tell me quickly, will my soul pass through the Southland? Will my soul pass through the Southland, through old Virginia grand? Will I see the hills of Georgia and the green fields of Alabama? Will I see that little church house where I pledged my heart and hand? Oh, Parson, tell me quickly, will my soul pass through the Southland? Was for loving dear old Dixie in this prison cell I lie. Was for loving dear old Dixie in this northern state I die. Will you see my little daughter? Will you help her understand? Oh, Parson, tell me quickly, will my soul pass through the Southland? And then the rebel soldier died.
The Rebel Soldier by the country gentleman Charlie Waller. A fabulous, fabulous country bluegrass ensemble. They have some very nice music for sure. And we'll try to bring things back home a little bit now with the Star of Logy Bay.
Ye ladies and ye gentlemen, I pray you lend an ear while I locate the residence of a lovely charmer fair. The curling of her yellow locks first stole my heart away, and her place of habitation was down in Logy Bay. 'Twas on a summer's evening this little place I found. I met her aged father who did me sore confound, saying, if you address my daughter, I'll send her far away, and she never will return again while you're in Logy Bay. 'Twas on the very next morning he went to St. John's Town and engaged for her a passage on a vessel outward bound, saying, if you address my daughter, I'll send her far away, and she never will return again while you're in Logy Bay. How could you be so cruel as to part me from my love. Her gentle heart beats in her breast as constant as a dove. No Venus was no fairer, nor the lovely month of May. May heaven above shower down its love on the star of Logy Bay. So now I go out roaming, I can no longer stay. I'll search the wide world over, through every country. I'll search in vain through France and Spain, likewise America, till I will sight my heart's delight, the star of Logy Bay. Now to conclude and finish, the truth to you I'll tell. Between Torbay and Outer Cove, 'tis there my love did dwell. The finest girl e'er graced our isle, so everyone did say. May heaven above shower down its love on the star of Logy Bay. May heaven above shower down its love on the star of Logy Bay.
Oh, I love that number. I love singing that number. It's a beautiful song. Thank you, Keith, for that information. I'll be checking that out. Thank you. Hey, Roma, thank you. I'm glad you could join in. Roma is a fantastic baker. She does some wonderful work, let me tell you. I hope to get a taste of that someday. Okay, we're going to try, we're going to try another country gentleman number. A little bit of a lengthy number, but what a story. What a story we have here. It's in G. It's a very touching story. It's called The Young Fisherwoman.
The boats were all set to depart. The crews prepared nets for the journey. One last kiss from sweethearts and wives who were left standing there by the sea. One young wife with tears in her eyes, who had only a short time been wed, who with others she waited return of her husband the fisherman Ned. She watched the small boat with its sail, just a speck on the distant horizon. Then she turned her weary foot home, for she knew that the night would soon come. How empty the village would be, how lonely the fisherman's life, for this was Ned's first trip to sea since she'd moved to the village his wife. Some days now had passed since they'd gone. Was time to return to the harbor. The women and children were there, with laughter and hearts all astir. But then there were cries of delight from the lips of the ones who were gathered. Small pointed white sails had been seen. They were welcomed and hailed as they neared. But then came a sign of despair, for the sight of the boats they had yearned. They all knew that 15 had left, but only 14 had returned. Dear Grace, so torn, could not speak, was Ned's boat that could not be found. The others tread sad to their homes, while Grace knelt there on the ground. The story was told of the wind in the storm, how the one boat was swept, how the men had been lost in the night, when the whole village silently wept. The village still tells how for years the young fisherwoman and bride had watched for a boat to come in each day by the lonely seaside.
A very, very sad story. The poor young fisherwoman. And you may have noticed that her name is revealed quite a ways into the song. Her name was Grace. And of course the fisherman's name who was lost, his name was Ned. But it certainly is a very beautiful song. And that's by the Country Gentleman, if you were interested to hear the original. And it's the title track of one of their albums, I believe, actually. Now we'll try a Doc Williams number, My Old Brown Coat and Me. And this will conclude the show for this evening, and I'd like to thank everybody for coming out and joining in. Thanks for the great comments, everyone, and I really hope you enjoyed yourself. A little entertainment. Here we go.
Oh, the moon was out, the stars were bright, the larks were singing free. Come listen while I sing about my old brown coat and me. I lived upon my father's farm till I was 21. I took a farm then of my own, and a man's life begun. I fell in love with Mary Bray, her father owned the store. There never was a girl beloved so tenderly before. But Mary Braid was very proud and haughty as could be. She oft times said that she'd not wed my old brown coat and me. There's 40 summers o'er my head, there's riches in my store. My children play out on the green, my wife stands in the door. I've land enough, I've money enough, I've houses tall and high. There's not a squire in all this land who wears such clothes as I. Braid was very proud and haughty as could be. She was wedded to a lawyer's son whose name was Joseline. He wore a coat all shiny black and looked so very grand, and Mary fancied he would make a noble and true man. But Mary's husband, he became a pirate on the sea. She oft times said she'd wish she'd wed my old brown coat and me. So girls, when you are called to choose the bank that bends the knee, think of the fate of Mary Braid, my old brown coat and me. Remember that an old brown coat, and not so very grand, can cover up as warm a heart as any in the land.
Well, thank you. Thanks, everybody, for coming out. I hope you really enjoyed yourselves, and thanks for all the great comments. And have a great evening. Take care of yourselves. Be careful out there. It's raining out there here, so be careful on the highways. Be careful of hydroplaning and all that kind of stuff. Always watch out for the oncoming traffic. And take care. Hope to see you again soon. Bye for now.